Dear friends, in this session, we will be discussing on the partnership firm and the joint stock company. Let's begin with the partnership firm. A partnership is a relationship between two or more persons, not exceeding 20, to share the profit as well as the losses of a business. The terms of the partnership are incorporated in an agreement called as a partnership deed. Such a deed indicates the name and location of the business, nature of the business, share of each partner, powers, duties, and obligations of the partners, manner in which profit or loss would be shared among the partners, provisions for retirement or dissolution of the partnership. Here, when two or more people, as per the Indian Partnership Act, minimum of 2 people and the maximum of 20 people, two or more people joins together and forms a business firm, it becomes a partnership firm. Okay, in that, when you are forming a firm, you should get into an agreement that is known as a partnership deed between each and every partner who are working or non-working, who are contributing, non-contributing, anything. The nature of the business, they perform the partners powers, duties, obligation, everything should be included in the partnership deed, and also about the profit and loss sharing should also be mentioned in the partnership deed. Next, partnership firm in India. In India, partnership organization is governed by the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Section 4 of this act defines a partnership as the relationship between persons who have agreed to share profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Person who enter into partnership are collectively known as firm but individually known as a partner. Just because you have got into a partnership firm individually as a human being, you cannot register the business firm in individual name. You have to give a proper specific name for your business firm and make it as a firm rather than mentioning it as a partnership. Okay, the person who is acting as a partner is a individual business partner, not of overall firm. And when there are two or more people joined together, it becomes a partnership firm. Next, suitability of a partnership form of business. Partnership form of business is not suitable for everybody. It is required to be uh, checked before identifying and deciding on which type of ownership can we adopt for our business. There are some of the factors which you need to consider if you are deciding on to whether to go for a partnership firm or not. Let's take some of the factors in case of a business where the capital requirement is medium. If you don't need a huge capital and you just need a small medium term of capital, then you can go for partnership where two or up to 20 people can invest some sort of amount and you can start with your business. If you require very less business firm with financial requirements, then you can go for a sole proprietorship. If you require so much of funds, then you can go for a joint stock company. It is neither too large nor too small. Business like retail and wholesale trade or small manufacturing units can be successfully started by the partners. Next, businesses that need different ability, managerial talent, skill, and expertise are best run in partnership mode. For example, businesses such as construction, legal firms, etc., prefer partnership where each partner contributes to the best as per his specialization. Let for example, they have mentioned here as a construction and legal firms where each person will be having a different skills and knowledge, the managerial talent, each individual will be having different ability. Each all those ability will be combined together to successfully run a partnership business. Next, family business are best organized as a partnership wherein husband and wife, parents and children, brothers and sister can become partners of a firm. Next, business requiring flexibility of operations, wishing to avoid elaborate compliances. Requirements will prefer partnership form of business. Next, features of a partnership firm. Agreement. A partnership cannot be formed without the agreement. It may be oral or written. Whether you people are getting into an agreement just by saying orally, or you have written it on an agreement in a partnership deed, it will be considered as an agreement between the partner, that you are accepting some sort of role, responsibility, powers, and you will be working about that, and you are also accepting about the profit and loss factors of the firm. Next, regulation. It is not necessary that a partnership firm may be registered or may not be registered. In case of registration, many problems may be avoided. It is always advised that partnership firm, from the beginning itself, it should get registered under the registration with the registrar of the company. Next, the number of partners. In a partnership, there should be at least 2 partners and a maximum of 20 partners. The profit and loss distribution. A basic aim of partnership is to make the profit. The profit is distributed among the partners according to their agreements and their ratios, the how much ever the investments they have made. And similarly, if in case the losses also incurred, that also would have to be distributed among them as ever mentioned as in the agreement. Next, unlimited liability. The liability of the partners are not limited to the invested amount. In case of any losses, the private property of the partner also use it to pay the business obligations. So next is that what are the advantages of a partnership? The first one is that easy of formation. As you all know, any two-person capable of entering into a contract can start partnership firm. The partnership deed can be oral or written. A registration is not compulsory. Thus, partnership is very easy to form. However, business conditions or requirements may force partnership to be formed through a partnership deed, which is in writing. For example, banks may allow a partnership firm to open a banking account unless there is a written partnership deed. So it is so much easy to form, and if you have a partnership deed and you have registered your business firm, then it is very easy to form and you can go for your business operation. The next one is that flexibility of operations. There is a considerable freedom in carrying out the business operations. There is no need for taking approvals from government or any other authority to change the nature, scope, or location of the business. You can do your business as per your comfortability, convenience, and yeah, there you have to follow some of the rules and regulations relating to the companies act. So those will be there, but you will be having a flexibility of operations. Next, greater financial resources. Partnership combines the financial strength of all partners, as the liability of partners is joint and several. So not only is the ability to contribute capital greater, it also enhances the borrowing capacity of the firm. Whenever you apply for the business loans, you will definitely get the business loan, because here the liability of the partners are unlimited. Though if you make a loss, you have each and every partner who are into the agreement have to pay from their own pocket, and that's why the even the financial institutes, they are ready to give you some sort of loans. Next, great managerial resources. Partnerships are often formed by people looking for advantages of synergy. If one partner has technical knowledge, other could be marketing, or somebody might be expert in finance. So the managerial resources of the firm are enhanced. The financial resources available with the firm enables the firm to employ a good manager on salary basis for taking care of the business in a professional manner. Next is like greater credit worthiness. When a lender evaluates the proposal for a loan, that could be your lender like banker or other financial institutes, definitely he will look at your credit worthiness. And so a partnership firm, by definition itself, it says that having a more than one person and they are responsible for the business, all partners are jointly and severally liable for the debt taken by the firm. The personal assets of all the partners can be used for the repayment of the loan also. So all this gives greater confidence for the lenders, and thus a partnership firm enjoys greater credit worthiness and therefore raises more debt for the business. Next, balance judgment. In this, in a partner, the day-to-day management might be like taken care by one or the few partners. However, in case of major issues, partners are likely to discuss the circumstances and arrive at a balanced judgment. Decisions are unlikely to be taken in haste and in emotions, so there will be a balanced judgment between whatever the decisions has been taken by deciding among each of the every partners. Next, specialization. Partners can benefit from division of labors. Partners may choose to specialize in an area of interest. Partners can clearly define responsibility and duties amongst themselves. This will result in expertise in management apart from increasing in efficiency, thereby maximizing the profit. Let's take an example that you and your three or four friends have started with your one kind of business, and it is not that you shouldn't be behaving like I will take care of the whole business. You should define your roles and responsibility based on the skills and knowledge you have, your friends have. Then you can bring up the specialization in your business and sustain in a market and establish a very good partnership firm in the market. Next, maintenance of a secrecy. A partnership firm is a closely held business. It is not required by law to share its performance and position with others. Thus, all knowledge about the firm is restricted to only the partners of the firm. It is like you will be agreed about the facts and figures or whatever the information is available in your business. You will not be going to share with anybody else, and it is like that will be available within your partnership firm, and only that is a kind of secrecy you can maintain, and make sure that the information shouldn't go out of the firm. Next, personal contacts with staff and customers. Like in a sole proprietorship, here also it's like a medium scale businesses, and hence partnership concern is relatively like a small organization only whose activities can be managed by a group of people. Thus, partners keep in close contact with the customers and staff. They are thus be able to note the changing tastes and attitudes and react faster to such changes. Next, economics in management. Partners have a stake in the profit of the business. They ensure that waste is kept at the minimum. All expenses are closely supervised. Thus, expenses of management are controlled. Economies in the sense finance, cost, whatever you say, and those things need to be controlled, and each and every person will definitely contribute for the better economies in the management. Next, conservative management. Partners have unlimited liability. Unlimited liability prevents the partners from taking reckless decisions. They not only ensure that the decisions taken by them are acceptable to all, but also confirm that no other partner is acting needlessly aggressive. So they definitely be very much protective about their business. They will definitely keep the step by analyzing each and every aspects relating to that, because if the business gets into a loss, everybody have to pay by getting it from their own pocket. Next, protection of minority interest. A partner being jointly and severally liable for any action of the firm, he has a right to stop the firm from taking action that is not in interest of the firm. Such a partner cannot be ignored even if majority of partners feel otherwise. Decisions of partnership need the consent of all partners. So here, incentive to hard work. Partners have share in the profits of the firm. Partners put it hard, and they do their work very hardly and try to increase the profit of the firm. A sincere and committed kind of efforts can be brought out of the partners' minds, and they will definitely put lot of efforts to get the extra rewards. Next, risk reduction. The profits and losses are shared by all the partners. Similarly, if the firm is unable to meet any of its payment obligations, all the partners are responsible for that. Thus, partnership offer risk reduction as the risk is spread among all the partners. Next, greater scope for the expansion. As number of the partners are getting larger, assume that you have started your business with only two members. Later you will get to see that you have business opportunity, you can where you can expand your business. Okay, so then you may require some sort of amount for that expansion. You can add up some other people to your business partnership, partnership firm. So that is a kind of greater scope for the expansion. Next, easy dissolution. It is very easy to dissolve, like a sole proprietorship. This is also easy to form and this is also easy to dissolve. Any partner can ask for dissolution of the firm by giving 14 days of notice. The firm can be dissolved on death or insolvency or lunacy or of any partner. When the partner gets insane, no legal formalities are required to dissolve the partnership. If all of the partners agreed for dissolution, they can proceed with the dissolution. Taxation. The Income Tax Act 1961 treats a partnership as a separate person and its tax is calculated separately. This allows the scope of partners to do tax planning and reduce the total tax payable to minimum. So these are the some of the advantages of the partnership firm. So let's understand various disadvantages of the partnership firm so that you can decide on what kind of business and what kind of ownership you want to opt when you are starting with your business. First one is that unlimited liability. First, partners become fully liable for all claims against the firm to an unlimited extent. The partner might lose all the savings of his life on account of any loss or a mistake in business. This is one of the reason that the selection of a partner or association with a like-minded partner is the most important thing in forming a partnership business, and you should be very much careful when you are working in a partnership firm. There are chances that your partner may cheat on you, or if you are the person is not honest, you may get into, or you may be liable for everything. So there is unlimited liability under partnership firm. Next one is that restriction on transfer of interest. One of the golden rules of any investment is that there must be an easy exit. If partner needs money or is not in agreement with others, he cannot transfer his interest in the firm to outsiders without the consent of the outsiders. A partner will not be liable to reduce or increase his stake in the partnership. Next, inadequacy of capital. The number of partners in a firm is restricted to a maximum of 20% only. Thus, a partnership firm may not be in a position to raise the required capital to finance its expansion plans. Hence, businesses that need large amount of capital are generally organized as joint stock companies. For example, an oil refining business like Reliance Industry Limited or a car manufacturing business like Tata Motors Limited cannot be imagined as a partnership firm. Those all are big companies and they need so much of investment and they go for a joint stock company. Next is like mutual conflicts. Partnership requires close cooperation and a lot of understanding amongst the partners. If there is a serious differences of opinions among the partners with different partners trying to pursue different goals, then it is not good for the health of the business. Friction between the partners will eventually lead to closure of the business. Next, uncertain continuity. Partnership may be dissolved on account of death, insolvency, insanity, or incapacity of any of the partners. There is always a serious threat to continuity of the business in its existing form. Hence, partnership firms are not suited to the business requiring long-term capital and plans. Delay in decisions making. Comparatively to the sole proprietorship, while day-to-day management is handled by one or more partners independently in the partnership, any major decisions require the consent of all partners. A discussion and the consensus on decision to be taken might be time consuming, resulting in the firm losing out on prompt actions. Next, risk of implied authority. A partner can bind all other partners of the firm by his actions. This is a great risk to the other partners, as any hastily taken action may result in wiping out the life savings of all partners. It is seen that mistrust and wrong decisions by managing partners usually lead to dissolution of partnership. Lack of public confidence. The affairs of the firm are not subject to public scrutiny. The performance and position of the firm is not published. Hence, the firm does not enjoy any public confidence. The aversion of risk. The liability of all partners are unlimited. Also, the partners are jointly and severally liable. In other words, a wrong step taken by one partner can result in all or some of the partners becoming bankrupt. Keeping this in mind, partners have a very high aversion to risk. Next, limited scope for expansion. A partnership firm can have only a limited number of partners. The liability of these partners is unlimited. Therefore, the ability to take risk is limited. This limits the ability of the firm to expand and grow. Next, continuation of responsibility. Normally, the responsibilities pertaining to a business end with closure of the business. However, in case of partnership firms, unless the liability of the firm is limited, that is limited liability partnership, the responsibility of the partners continues even after the firm is closed down or dissolved. This continues till the claims of all outsiders are completely settled. Next, no independent legal status. Partnership firm is not separate or distinct from its member. It does not have a separate legal entity of its own. Partners enter into contracts on behalf of each other. These are the some of the disadvantages associated with the partnership firm. So let's discuss on joint stock company. The joint stock company can be defined as a company is a voluntarily association of person who contribute to its capital, but their liability remains limited. It carries on business for profit as a legal entity. It can sue and be sued on its own name. So a joint stock company where people contributes their investment capital, and their liability remains limited. If the company faces any kind of losses, they do not have to pay from their own pockets. It carries on business for profit as a legal entity, where it is a separate entity from the investors who have contributed the capital. So if anything happens with the company, or company faces any kind of flaws because of somebody else, it is filing a case against somebody else, or somebody else is suing a case on a company, that that should be done in the name of the company only, not in the name of the investors or the management who are taking care of the company. A joint stock company is an organization which is owned jointly by all its shareholders. Here, all the stakeholders have a specific portion of stock owned, usually displayed as a share. You might have heard there are people who are known as a shareholders, like stakeholders, those who have shares, debentures, bonds, or preferentials of some company are said to be the stakeholders. So here, the people, usually the equity shareholders, are said to be the owners of the company. So here, those each individual contribution is said to be as a share. Each joint stock company share is transferable, and if the company is public, then its shares are marketed or on registered stock exchanges. You have heard the various types of registered stock exchanges like National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange, Bangalore Stock Exchange, Kolkata Stock Exchange. Like that, we have many stock exchanges in our country where the registered company or a public company can market his shares on a registered stock exchange. Private joint stock company shares can be transferred from one party to another party. However, the transfer is limited by agreement and the family members. In a private joint stock company and public joint stock company, there is a lot of difference. Let me tell you what is the difference. In the private limited company, a minimum capital required is 1 lakh, whereas in a public limited company, minimum capital required is 5 lakh. In a private limited company, minimum of 2 and the maximum of 50 members will be there. In a public company, minimum of 7 members, and there won't be limit on a maximum numbers. In a private limited company, at least there should be 2 directors. In a public limited company, there is a minimum of 3 directors required. And in a private limited company, there is no restriction on appointment of the directors, whereas in a public limited company also there is no restrictions on the appointment of directors. In a private limited company, non-transferable shares will be there. In a public limited company, shares can be transferred from one person to another person because those are traded in different stock exchanges of the country. So restriction on invitation to subscribe for shares will be available in a private limited company, where it will not be applicable for the public limited company. No restrictions on managerial remuneration in a private limited company. Managerial remuneration cannot exceed more than 11% of the net profit in a public limited company. Can start a business without obtaining certificate of commencement in a private limited company, but a public limited company needs 2 certificates. One is that certificate of uh, the registration, and the certificate of commencement of operation business is compulsorily required by the public limited company. When you understand the difference between a private limited company and a public limited company, you'll understand what the joint stock company are. So under the joint stock company, private and public limited companies are different types of companies. So here let's understand some of the examples of joint stock company. Indian Oil Corporation, Tata Motors Limited, Reliance Industry, which you have seen and heard about the Reliance Industry. Next, State Bank of India, a largest bank of our nation, that is a public limited company. Reliance also public limited, and Indian Oil, Tata Motors, all those are public limited companies whose shares you can see trading in NSE and PSE of our country. Like types of joint stock companies, the major types has been classified as chartered company, statutory company, and the registered. A chartered company is a firm incorporated by the king or the head of the state is known as a chartered company. Like it happens in a Great Britain, where the country is ruled by the king or a queen. in our India also, if there is a king or a queen or a princess, they start with a firm, a company. That firm is said to be a chartered company. Statutory company is formed by a particular act of parliament. Is that statutory means following some rules and regulations. Okay, here the power, object, right, and responsibility are all defined by that specific act. Next, registered company. An organization that is formed by registering under the law of the company comes under a registered company. Usually, the companies which we see every day, we hear about every day, are most of them are under, comes under registered company. Next, let's understand the features of a joint stock company. A joint stock company has separate legal entity. A joint stock company is an individual legal entity apart from the persons involved. It can own assets and can, because it is an entity, it can sue or can be sued. Whereas a partnership or a sole proprietorship, it has no such legal existence apart from the person involved in it. So the members of the joint stock company are not liable to the company and are not dependent on each other for business activities. Next, perpetual. You might have heard the sentence saying that people may come, people may go, but the company will remain forever. It will keep on working though people changes in the company. Here, the members, the company life is not affected even if member keep changing. Number of members in a joint stock company. For a public limited company, there can be unlimited number of members, but minimum being 7. For a private limited company, only 2 members. In general, a partnership firm cannot have more than 10 members in one business. Actually, this was next, limited liability. In this type of company, the liability of the company's shareholders is limited. Transferable share. A company shareholder without consulting can transfer his shares to others. Incorporation. For a firm to be accepted as an individual legal entity, it has to be incorporated. If it is a private company, certificate of incorporation is enough. If it is a public limited company, along with the certificate of incorporation, it requires a certificate of commencement of a business. So once you register, establish your business, you bring all the resources together and go to your register of the company and submit all the required documents. You will, by checking, by analyzing and going through your certificates and other documents, you will issue an incorporation certificate. So that is like a confirmation for you people to start with your business operation. If it is a private company, private limited company. If it is a public limited company, it has to wait for the certificate of commencement of business. Next, what are the advantages of the joint stock company? First one is that large capital. When compared to the sole proprietorship or partnership firm, if you want to expand your business, you need so much of money. That time you can collect huge capital for the business through shares and debentures, public deposit loans, etc. Due to huge capital, the company can conduct businesses on a large scale. Okay. Next, limited liability. Usually, the liability of the members of the company is limited to the extent of uncalled or unpaid shares held by them. Their personal property cannot be seized to meet the company's liability beyond the above mentioned liability of the firm. So next is that continuity and the stability. Death, insolvency, or insanity of any member of the company will not affect his life and existence like it affects in sole proprietorship and partnership. In joint stock company, it doesn't affect. Men may come and they may go, but the company remains forever. It can be wound, but under the provisions of the act. Next, professional management. The company appoints experienced, competent, and experts to manage the business. This services leads to managerial and administrative efficiency and the accuracy. Next, economies of scale. A company operates on a high scale, and so it enjoys economies in production, distribution, management, and finance. Bargaining power. Compared to other forms of organization, a joint stock company is a strong power in buying as well as in selling of goods because of its large scale of production. Nowadays you can see that there are small companies which gets affected because of a large companies because of their economic scale. Today if you want to start a business of online selling like Flipkart or Amazon, you can start it, but they are like the big economic scale, large scale operative businesses. They compete like anything in front of you. You have to face a lot of challenges because of those economies of scale they manage. That is a kind of advantages they have. They have a brand, they have a commitment, they have a kind of a market share, and they can produce more because they have more funds, and they can reduce the cost of production. They can even reduce the profitability level, and because they can manage. If they finds loss in some of the sector or some of the business lines, they can make profit in some other business lines. So that is why they have a large economies of scale and they can manage anything. Next, bargaining power. Compared to other forms of organization like sole partnership or other, a joint stock company is a strong power in buying as well as in selling. Sorry, okay. Um, that is what we have discussed. Next one is legal status. Since the company is created by law, it has separate legal existence compared to its members. Therefore, the members cannot be personally held responsible for the acts of the company, and company cannot be held liable for the acts of the members. Here it is separate and different member, a different entity. It has its own name, it has its own seal, it has its own identity. The members and the company both are separate. If one of the members of the company does some illegal activities, the whole company cannot be sued for that one person's issue, the mistake. Okay. Next, large membership. The company is owned by many members, maximum of 50 in case of private limited company, and in case of public limited, unlimited members. So a large membership is kind of advantage for the company. Next is the transferability of shares. Shares of joint stock company, especially public companies, are freely transferable. They can transfer easily, like by share, trading in a stock exchanges, by buying and selling if at a higher prices or a lower prices. They can easily transfer within a 2 trading days or something like that. Next, a member who wants to sell his shares can easily do so in the stock market. This encourages the public and other to invest in the shares. Next, employment. The joint stock company provides employment to many people directly and indirectly. This leads to the higher national income for the country and higher living standard of people. You have seen that a big MNC companies, most of the MNC companies are large scale joint stock companies which are offering a lot of jobs for the people of our country and increasing the employment status in our country, and that is obviously leading to a higher standard of living of all of us. Next, government revenues. Joint stock company provide revenue to the government in the form of taxes charged directly and indirectly. That are direct taxes are income tax, and indirect taxes are like nowadays we are you know that GST has been applied for all the product or services we are buying. So that is the kind of revenue which a company can generate for the government. Next, research and development. Joint stock company undertakes research and development continuously, thus bringing about new and improved products which benefit people. not only within our country, they bring the various scientific and new technological technologies, machineries, and anything like our 4G, 5G internet, what we are using, the Android phones which we are using, all those things has been brought and developed because of these joint stock companies only. Next is that economic development. Because of joint stock companies, there is all around development of trade, commerce, and industry. The society in general gains the benefit of the industrial development. Large capital, government, revenue, economic development, etc., are the advantages of the joint stock company. Now, let's understand the disadvantages of joint stock company. First one is that it is difficult to form, that is difficult formation. Formation of JSC is an expensive and time consuming process, as a number of legal formalities have to be undertaken in order to register the company. Next, lacks flexibility. Like sole proprietorship and partnership, there are less number of people working and less number of people participating, and they have the ownership is also less. Here in joint stock company, the ownership is more, and the when you whenever you have to decide on something, or whenever you have to change something in an organization, you have to consult the people who belongs to your company. So it lacks the kind of flexibility. Next, you have no business secrecy. This form of organization lacks the business secrecy because it is compulsory for the company to publish accounts and other records to the public. Next, excessive government regulations. The company is subjective to excessive government control. It has to follow the numerous provisions of the Companies Act. This makes the working difficult. Delay in decision. The joint stock company is completely not free to take all decisions and to implement the decisions due to excessive government control and democratic setup. All decisions are taken in meetings like annual general meeting, statutory meeting, and other meetings, whatever they conduct. All those meetings has to be attended by all the members, and by taking the resolutions, they decide on going for some any actions or not. So it takes all these things leads to delay in decisions. Lack of contact with the customers. Obviously, joint stock company means it's a big company where you will not be directly having a contact or conversation with your customer like you'll be having in a sole proprietorship or in a partnership firm. It decreases the competitive strength of the business due to large scale operations. Lack of contact with the employees. The top management may not have contact with their employees. This may cause frictions and disputes among the management and the employees, which will may affect the workers and employees' morale. Next, conflict of interest. Many persons are the owners of joint stock company. There can be misunderstanding and jealousy amongst them, and this cause problems in operations of business and profit making. It's not suitable for all type of business. This type of organization is not suitable for every type of business, for personalized services required. The such kind of business where you want to give a proper service to your customer directly, you want to have a conversation with them, and where it is very much important to understand each and every need and requirement of the customer. That kind of business doesn't suits with a joint company ownership. Next, exploitation of shareholders. Sometimes the BOD may misappropriate the fund and mislead the shareholders, like by window dressing report. You might have heard about the company, the that is Satyam company, which did a window dressing. Window dressing here means that where they showcase the public, saying that the company is making a profit, where actually the company is not making a profit, or they show that they are making a loss where actually it is not making. When they modify the actual performance of the company and showcase something else to the shareholders or the public, that is known to be a window dressing. The directors may even manipulate the trading on the stock exchange. Usually, it happens. Thus, shareholders can be exploited by corrupt directors of an organization. These are the some of the joint stock companies' disadvantages. So, in this session, we have discussed about the partnership firm, we have discussed about the joint stock company, and both of those features, characteristics, advantages, and disadvantages with some examples. I hope that you people have understood the concept. Thank you so much.